if you're gonna remove shows or change shows, there should be a criteria. And my view is, like David's, one of the criteria should be if it's a locally produced show by people in San Francisco, it should have more priority than something that's brought in outside, because we want to encourage more people in San Francisco to actually produce shows. That's part of the purpose of community access, to get people to produce shows where they are. We have been arguing and debating with the CTC for many, many months. We forced them to play that tape that showed.
Did they
that
ever?
hearing.
They played it?
They did play the tape. They played the
Twice,
tape.
yes.
They
Twice?
showed it twice, and in that tape, everyone was unanimous against the lottery. They had no support. And I talked to Jan, and I talked to the other people, and I said, listen, if people are supportive of your proposal, you can at least get one person, like somebody you say that has been excluded from having a primetime show, you can at least get one person to come to your hearing and say, I'm in favor of a lottery. They couldn't find one person to come and argue for their position. So that tells me they don't have support among the producers and programmers. And they can't even get those people who say that they want a primetime slot to come and speak in favor of it. Now, the other thing that's involved in this is, my belief is that this whole thing is a canard. Because the reason it's a canard is that we are entitled, under the law, to 2 channels, actually. 2 community access channels in San Francisco. Now, my view is that we should spend our effort and labor fighting to get the channel going 24 hours a day down there, and then fighting for an additional channel for other producers and programmers. Instead, we spent an inordinate amount of time discussing this, going back and forth, having public meetings, going to these hearings. It's a waste of time. We wasted our time arguing with them over this thing, instead of fighting for more time, which is allowed under the Community Access Channel Agreement, that there's supposed to be 2 channels. So I think if we go on the 20th, and I plan to go, at 6 o'clock, again, we have to pound them and say, we don't accept the lottery. If you're going to have criteria, there should be criteria for locally produced shows. That should have a higher priority. And you are basically have contempt for the producers in what you're doing. Because you had a public hearing and not one producer supported you. At this public hearing, it could have been producers, consumers, cable users, anybody could have come to it. And they couldn't get one person in support of them, and yet they're pushing ahead with this.
On the 20th at 6 or 7?
6.
I believe it's, I'm not for sure. I will email everybody to be sure, but I think it's 5:15.
So,
Kind of early.
Yeah.
5:15. Okay. In any event, my motion is that we again mobilize on the 20th. And we
Where
again,
is it?
it's on
1720 Market.
Where the new studios are at.
Yeah. And that room that they have there is only holds a limited number of people, so that may be a problem. Having people sit down. But in any
But you're
event,
allowed 3 minutes and leave.
in any way, and we should let people know, we should try to get people to go and speak up in favor of, against their plan to have the lottery, and say that if there's going to be criteria, it should include, the criteria should be prioritized locally produced programs. And also, I think we should say that they should put off this vote. I thought that they had tabled it, they're coming back with it. Aaron Fink, this guy, is that Aaron Fink, or what's his
Aaron
name?
Vink.
Wink.
Aaron Vink. Aaron
He's
Vink.
not really.
Well, let me explain something about Aaron Vink. Aaron Vink put out a statement to us, a letter to us, saying that there was a lottery, and this is what it was going to be. Remember the letter that he sent
He
around?
was
You mean a long
convinced it
time
was
ago?
going to
Yeah.
pass.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
remember
okay.
that.
Well, Aaron Vink put this letter out saying there was going to be a lottery. Well, who was Aaron Vink?
An
Is he the
assistant.
board? He's a staff person.
That's right. It's a staff.
Okay, he was telling us there's going to be a lottery, this is the way it's going to be. Then when we called him on it, who's the president, that guy? Ellis and
Ellis
Horn?
and Horn, yeah.
We called him and said, look, what is this about there's going to be a lottery? He said, oh, it's all a misunderstanding. No one's talking about a lottery. This is what the president of the board told me. It's a misunderstanding. So in other words, this guy who works for the staff is putting out something saying there's going to be a lottery, this is how it's going to work, and the president of the board says it's all a misunderstanding, we're not going to have a lottery. What does that tell people?
They don't take it.
They're not on the same page over there.
Well, not only are they not on the same page, they're giving us a bunch of bull.
Right.
That's what it tells us. So this is what we have to present to them again on the 20th, and we have to, I think, let them know that, as David said, if they're not going to serve the interests of the community and the producers, then they don't deserve to be running that station. They have brought a lot of people on that board
Yes, they have.
who have no knowledge of community access.
No, a broker.
a broker, financial people, public relations people, and these people may be nice people, personally. I mean, I don't have anything personally against these people, but the fact of the matter is, they have people on that board who don't know jack about community access, who think they're producers and have never produced a show. You know, I mean, that's
Well,
a
speaking
problem.
as a board member, though, I would tell you that some of those people have some very valuable information. If we was all on the same page together, marching down that aisle together after goals and all that, they got some people who are some heavyweights.
Well, as I said, I have nothing against the person. I think they have something to contribute. However,
But I
there's a
think
staff
that-
there's a staff agenda, and the staff agenda is to have a lottery.
I think that when you look at the people, I mean, I don't want to just downgrade them without giving you another angle as to why they are where they are, because I know these people, and except for a couple of them, there are some damn good people in there that really are on your side. But you have to come at them, and you have to play the game the way the game has the rules. The rules are you go to the meeting, you make your statements, and then if you have to do more, you do more. But, you know, you got to come in with your ducks lined up. And when we go in, we don't have our ducks lined up. We're angry. We can fix all that. But one of the things that I think we need to address is, all right, there's a lottery, they're talking about a lottery, they're talking this. What is the alternative? I think that the thing about people being in a time slot, if you can stay in the same time slot for 20 years on public access, and that time slot is prime time, 9 o'clock at night, and no one else can ever get that slot,
That's
I don't believe that that is right. Now,
Let's have more discussion.
How are you going to be serving the San Francisco community by giving the same kind of priority to people that are producing outside the city as opposed to the community producers? So I think that we should really use that as the opening door to everything else.
Okay, Carl?
I understand what Bill you're saying, but when we've said that we didn't want the lottery already. We shouldn't have to repeat that. We've told Zane that the CTC is supposed to support us, and yet they aren't. So now, why are we still messing around? Why aren't we challenging the board on the domination of the channel? We should be challenging them by with the
1C3.
5013C, and we should put forth a concerted effort to take the channel away from CTC. Now, that was spoke of way before they even took over the channel. Steve and I and a few other producers were talking about that before they even took over, because it was just a power play from Zane to take over the channel. He has no intentions of allowing the people who produce TV shows on this channel to stay on there in the first place. That's not his intent. His intent, I think, he has other purposes for that channel. And for us to take over the channel would be the best way, or to get rid of Zane and all those people who follow him on the board. Now, if you're not going to do that, and the guy is playing games with politics and saying yes and no and yes, then he's going to continue to do that. We're going to continue to have to fight him all the time. And that's silly. When we are the people who are producing the programs on the channel, we should say, either you do it this way, or we're going to produce the political background, or we're going to take over the channel ourselves. And if you're not going to do that, then we wasted time. Because he's going to keep doing it.
Okay, wait a minute. Other people,
Yeah, your issue and yours, like you said, we should be down there fighting for 2 stations, you know, because by law, we're entitled to that. Okay, how do we do that? I mean, if by law, we're supposed to have 2, you know, I'm all for that. And like I say, it should be going 24 hours, and when we get to the streaming media, I'm all for that. The more we have, the more access we have to get out there, then we can accommodate the other producers. So it's like, if that's the law, and they're breaking it, I mean, how do we enforce that rather than just arguing with them? Can we go to like the telecommunications at the Board of Supervisors, City Hall, or how?
but we're like drifting. When you're talking about 2 channels and all, there's a lot to that. That's not a simple thing. You have an agreement that every cable company, you want to have a cable companies here in Francisco, you gotta get a franchise agreement from the city. That agreement says that, okay, you get to have the right to have your cable company here, but you gotta give, the pay, the public access, the education, and the government, you gotta give a channel for them three. Now we have another channel coming to RCN. Now, they get the franchise agreement just like AT&T, is it AT&T, whatever it is, got the franchise agreement. Now, we tell them, hey, okay, you can come in here, but you gotta give a channel, you gotta, 3 channels as well. That's where we get that second channel. So, fighting for that is a good thing. But I think the question that is before everyone is the fact about the lottery and whether or not, I mean, that is the point of contention we're talking about right now, is the lottery. And I've already, what my thing is, and then the question was, how long should a person stay in that slot? And I think that the challenge to us is, okay, we don't like the lottery. Okay, we have to come up with an answer to the situation of a person having a slot forever. How do we break that? Because that's not a good thing. And still have a situation that we can agree of changing our time slots in some type of a way. How can we make that happen? That's what we have to come up with, because that is the point. That's the reason why it's been held up. That's the reason why there's been so much contention about it, because no one likes it. So, hey, somebody come up with an answer. The question to everybody with this point is do you think that the slot, people having permanent time slots, is that something that is a good thing? Or should there be some situation where they change them up? I think there has to be a situation where these slots are changed up somehow. Now, how do we do that that's acceptable to us and we can present to them?
I think that's not the underlying what's happening, and you trying to cover it up by saying it's just the slots. The slots ain't what it is, because after the slots, it's gonna be something else.
That's
What,
true.
so the underlying thing is, you gotta remove the people from the board who are producing these slots, who are saying we have to have a lottery. When we went in the first time and they said they weren't, now they're saying they are, those are the people we have to get rid of. And those are the people on the board you gotta get rid of. If you're not gonna get rid of them, they're gonna do something else. Like they're not gonna put on a second channel. If you're not willing to suffer the consequences of dealing with politics with Zane, then you're gonna lose. If you're gonna lose the fight, you can sugarcoat it all you want to with all these slots and all this. But if you don't get rid of people who are creating the problems, then you're not really dealing with the problem.
Well, wait a minute. The other people who haven't, any producers? Yeah.
I've got some questions. I'm in a youth, my program is in a rather unique situation that it consists of several producers, and some producers are here in San Francisco and some are down in the South Bay. So does my program constitute a locally produced program or an out-of-city program?
Because you're one of the producers.
Your program is?
Outlook Video.
Okay.
So we have like a couple people here in San Francisco that produce
That would
segments
be
here in
local.
San Francisco.
Yeah, that would be local.
However, our main taping is done in studios in Mountain View Community Television.
It's still local, but you're actually producing local stuff.
They're producing stuff for you. So.
Well, they actually don't.
Anybody should be able to bring in a show and get the prime time slot, regardless of where the show's from. That's their position. Okay, and then they say the way to do that is through a lottery, where you just put it in the box, and everybody go through it, and you change it around.
Yeah.
And as we all know, when you lose your slot, it's a hard time building up an audience and getting an audience. It's a big hassle, but that's not of any big concern to them. In any event, that's the answer to this. So I think our criteria has been put forward.
No,
And one of the criteria has been that locally produced shows have priority over those shows that come from other places. These ideas, David, we together and all of us have been presenting to them.
It has hand up behind you.
What?
No.
Oh, you have.
Well, I wanted to answer one more thing about that whole thing. This whole thing about public access is covered by laws, and federal laws and other laws. And if I was a person who wanted to get that time slot and there was no way to get it, I'd file a lawsuit. And if anybody that's in charge, any organization that's responsible for doing this, had to deal with that stuff. And this thing about lotteries and stuff, you know, there's a lot of other public access channels around the country. Most of them are doing something similar to what they're proposing. What I'm saying is we need to come up with a system that's either acceptable, or the only other thing would be to kick them people out and take over. Either find a solution or take it over.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, well, I was just going to link that together because he's the one that brought up that within being our Trojan horse in there, representing us and everything else, he's the one that came up with the idea of saying, if they don't do the job, they need to move on. They need to be fired. Now, he says, well, let's not waste time. Let's let them know now that we intend to get rid of them because they are giving us too much BS, and all that BS is just covering up the fact that they just don't like us, period, and that they have their own plans for the channel. So I see this as the thing to work together, all of us. How we link the process of going from what he's saying to what he wants done, which is what needs to be done, right? And let's work on that process as a unit together and come up with how do we take step 1, step 2, and step 3. And step 1 should be, this is our ultimatum, you know, you guys either stop harassing us or you're out of here. Step 1. Then after that, we start organizing the getting them out of here. That's it.
Okay, well, my motion is we make the presentation, if they go ahead with the lottery, that we have a public demonstration against the CTC management in front of the studio, and put them on notice. And I don't think we should tell them that. We should argue against them imposing this. But if they do that, they're basically saying they're gonna go ahead of this regardless of what the majority of producers and programmers feel. So we have to make a statement out front that, you know, that we reject this, and we reject the fact that they're really not interested in collaborating in a positive way with the producers and programmers who produce the shows at Channel 20. And that's, and then, you know, I mean, they don't want, the last thing they want is bad publicity. They don't want to see the supervisors get involved. They don't want to have a fight with us. I mean, one of the things about the producers is that we're all organizers, because we have to be to get the shows together and put them on. So that's the last thing they want. So I think that's what we should do. Now, it'll come up with the programmers. There's some people on the programmers committee who are very unhappy with this, who don't like it. It's being shoved down their throat again and again. And that's because the management, in my view, Scott Aaron and Zane, want to push this thing, regardless of what the programmers think. So that's my motion. The motion is that we go to the meeting on the
20th.
On the 20th. We argue for that, and then if they go ahead and vote for the thing, that we organize a demonstration at the station, protesting what they've done.
That sounds okay. He's got
He
it.
has.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in a very unique situation here. I'm not here to talk about per se programming, other than I co-produce one of the shows and I support some of the shows. Okay, I'm in broadcast. Okay, lease access to broadcast. Okay, but I came from where you guys are when it was at UHF with Dangerous George. Okay, I was in the camera work. I was just a little grunt, learning about TV. I'm listening, and all I'm gonna do is give you something. Has nothing to do with this fundraiser, and that's all I'm gonna do. And it's just a suggestion as an outsider, because that's all I am. I'm an outsider. Let's be honest. So I have no personal views, nobody feelings. I don't judge nobody, but I'm saying in my years, I've seen this, and I know where it's going. You better understand that what he just said is going to happen. What you're doing, David, is probably no one will understand what you're going through. Trojan horse or not, you're going to be beat up in this. The game that needs to be played is somewhat what he's talking about, somewhat what he's talking about, but you got to have a solution. Here's an offer. I was taught by my parents, you don't be the horse that pulls the cart. You be the carrot that pulls the horse that pulls the cart. I don't know if you understand that, but you be the carrot that pulls the horse that pulls the cart. What I'm saying is, They're gonna throw curves, spitters, everything. The lottery is nothing. It is about what he's talking about. But you always need, that I've learned now that I'm older, to find a solution for each of these splitters. Either you hit the damn ball or you strike out. If you strike out, you're gonna have problems. A solution. If they come at you with this thing about a lottery, here's an offer. You all have tincture, isn't it called? Tincture years? Okay? Why don't you offer them this? Sure, we'll do it. See, you're all thinking different. Do it. Only switch with those that have tincture. You see what I'm saying? I will switch with you, only with you. I'm not switching with this new kid that just came here and that wants, or if it's a political thing, you want to move him up or you want to move her up. But if he's been there 30 years and she's been there 15 years and he's been there 9 years, then let these two switch instead of having be. What I'm saying is, if you're going to have a fight amongst the old folks versus the youngs. You don't want to pit the young and the old against each other because you're going to want to rally the young to help you fight some of these issues. And that's a solution. When it comes to cutting the throat of the head of the snake, that's another solution because it is going to bite you. And it has happened when I worked as a KPOO in the radio. Now I'm saying TV's different than radio, but KPOO is still public access. And I worked under Joe Rudolph, God bless his soul. And we went through that in the early 80s when City Hall wanted the station. And some board members wanted the station. You need to cut the head of the snake. And that means you need to pick one and go after the board, find them as a rally. You're already on the board, so it's not you. You need to separate who is your ally.
It's minority.
And then go after the ones that are, and you cut their heads. They're going to have to be a board, political or not, you know that. There's going to have to be a board to oversee this stuff. But you might as well have your people on the board. He's right in that way, because you're going to have to protest. But you don't want to alienate the youngsters who would probably want, why is he in that slot 920,000 years and I can't get no prime time? You don't want to have that kind of argument because you want that kind of support from the youngsters. So what you want to do is you want to sound like you're giving young people, look,
Opportunity.
this is what we'll
Look
do
at
as
it.
the old timers. We'll do this. I'm only going to switch. You got to respect who I am. But at the same time, can we do it? If it's going to happen, then do it with somebody that's been around a long time. And that's just a possible solution. That's all I'm saying. And if you get that little crap out of the way, then you need to go after that cobra. Because eventually, you know where it's going to happen. They moved us from Tacoma to Divisadero, and then the city took over KPOO, and then it became just a big, huge mess. And now KPOO doesn't have the clout like we did when we had Patty Hearst, SLA. I had the Black Community Report. I was doing jazz. We were at the forefront. That's when I jumped and hooked up with Dangerous George. I said, I want to do TV now. And it was banging. Like I told somebody, the Ku Klux Klan was on the channel. Yeah, the Ku Klux Klan. And they was cool. You know, they didn't want to mess with the programmers. They would have got cut.
Yeah.
But they had all the rights in the world to be there. It's foo-foo, she-she, foo-foo now. It's irrelevant what we're arguing about. But at the same point, it's relevant because it's all about programming. But you can't hurt the old timers because they've been relevant and they're here. The viewers still watching.
Yeah,
But you can't help the young artiste that's coming because he has something to say like you did when you was young.
No, I hear what you're saying. I just, while we're having this discussion, and Zane and them are probably over there doing their thing, there's a whole another group that's trying to take over the public access. That's the DTIS. And they hate Zane. And, you know,
Who's the DTI?
like I said, I see it from a lot of different angles because I'm in there.
Yeah, okay.
Who's the
And-
DTIS?
That's
I
the
need to know.
Department of Telecommunications Services.
Where at?
The city.
The
It
city.
was a city organization.
This, look, all over the country, in Canada, people are being thrown off their shows.
Sure.
Okay, in Kansas City on radio, these people, speculators, commercial operators are taking over these stations for their own purposes. They're selling them off, they're getting rid of them.
It's the KPFA.
Well, the same thing in KPFA. We're part of that. They want to get rid of some of the shows that we have. They want to make it more commercial. As a matter of fact, Zane at one point said that he'd like to have commercials on the station. This is Zane, this guy that they brought in from Sacramento. I won't say who told me, but somebody who is at that station said, "What did you bring that guy for? He wants to commercialize the whole station." That's what he's in favor of doing. So that's their agenda, and we are an obstacle on their agenda. So we have to be organized and we have to challenge them, and I think the first thing is to let people know what's going on and to expose them, and to educate people. I agree that we don't want to alienate young people. We want to bring young people and new people onto the show and have them start producing.
You're gonna need that support.
But I don't know if it just switching with each other doesn't change the fact that some of the people that have slots, you know, primetime slots, want to have slots in the evening where people can watch. I mean, in my show, most working people work during the day.
Yeah.
You know, that's the only time they can watch television. Okay,
Well,
so
my-
in any event, when they go 24 hours, that is not really the problem. The problem is that people have an agenda at the station and management to get these shows off, and they're disregarding and disrespecting the programmers and what our views are. And that's why we had a public meeting, and it was unanimous.
Well, see, my argument behind the whole lottery things, I didn't think was necessary at all because,
That's right.
you know, how long does a person, how many people been in for 30 years, 15 years? Not that many. I mean, people put on their show for a while, they leave, the slot comes open. When I got my show, I said, hey, what slots do you have? They had 6 o'clock on Thursday night. Okay, good as any other time. And then one day I went in to renew my show and I said, well, what slots you got open now? Well, let me look. Oh, here's Monday at 8:30. You want that? Yeah, okay, I'll take that. And that's how it went. So my whole argument behind this was, why mess with something that ain't broke? You know,
They have an agenda. And you,
well, yeah, I know that they have an agenda, but I can't argue it by just saying, hey, you got an agenda. I got to argue it and say, hey,
Well, we have.
this is a result of your action, and this is not something that's in the best interest of the people you're serving.
We have said that. We said the criteria should be locally produced shows. So people have locally produced shows, they should have a higher priority than shows that come from the outside. That is a reasonable thing.
Let me tell you about supervisors. You know, all the supervisors up there right now are under the gun because a lot of them, you know, the whole board of supervisors changed, and people have been expected to vote a certain way, and they haven't, and they are very, very susceptible to public opinion. So on the one hand, yeah, supervisor's great. On the other hand, they got 4 of them on the telecommunication commission. You know, they do have people on the board of supervisors that's supposed to be up on this stuff going on.
Who are those
But
four?
I don't know exactly who they are, but you just go to the San Francisco website and you can see, you look up the telecommunication thing, and they have supervisors assigned to that very thing. But going to the supervisor, when you say that, well, these people got an agenda, they trying to get rid of us, you can't say it that way. You got to show it. You got to, like what I do, when I told them that thing about how the slots ain't necessary to change, you know, they were just telling me how, well, you know, in Minnesota and all them other places. I'm saying, well, look, if you like to go to Minnesota, you want to go to them places, you want to work, that'd be fine. But here in San Francisco, this is the way I see it as a producer in San Francisco. You know, there's all kind of ways to do it, but I would rather have us come up and say, hey, this is how it should be done, or this shouldn't be done at all because it ain't necessary.
Okay.
But we haven't approached it from that point of view.
Oh, yes, we did.
No, we
in that
have not.
meeting, we did say that.
Yeah, people.
In that
People
particular
said that in
meeting,
the meeting.
that meeting was a non-binding, feel-good thing.
When we
That
made-
meeting didn't even have the
No.
back and forth conversation that you need in a meeting.
But-
It didn't have an agenda. It didn't have somebody
That's
running it.
because, you know why? That's because the board wanted to see what we had and what we were bringing
Well, wait,
forward
well,
so
wait,
they
let's
could
not-
deal with
look,
it.
We
look,
haven't
when I
instituted
made- when I made
anything.
a pre-
We haven't
wait a
come to
minute.
them to say,
David,
hey,
David,
anything.
David, when I made a presentation to them, representing the committee, Producing Programs Network, I said that. I said if we're gonna have criteria of who's gonna be on, the criteria should be if it's a locally produced program. That was said to them.
They know
They,
that.
they have been told.
But here's what they also know.
they've
They know
been
that the
told-
same people gonna show up. You're gonna have 5, 6, 7, 8 people, the same
Well,
ones that
wait a
show up
minute,
each
look.
and every time, and everybody gonna say there's 180 producers.
Where are they?
Yeah, and we haven't. This whole thing
We
began.
could get a petition, we have a petition. When people see the petition. Okay, the next point is on the benefit.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, I'm John McCartney. I have a company called McCartney and Associates. We had a show last night called Ruby Sky with Tangeray, Soul Sweet, blah, blah, blah. Hip hop. And what I do is I produce broadcast programming. I am getting ready to launch a new black television network from the West Coast called First Fridays Television Network. I've created some shows. But in the meantime, I've done a lot of community work, Mother Right, Third Street Festival. I helped produce the first show there. The Giants, Stop the Violence, did that 2 years ago, brought celebrities. So my thing has been to not just do events and concerts, to also split my talent doing things for the community. Not only have I been working with my friends who are on 29, Video Culture, Tina Lee Jones, who is an old partner of mine who started my company, who now has a show on 29, her and Nadina Brox. Also Maggie Tucker, who's the executive producer of Hot Talk for Teens. What I do is I supply the videos to these shows. Any case, do something for me, John. Do something for me. Can you guys do something? I don't know. I run into Aline on Powell Street and all hell broke loose. And we just started talking. She felt that I'd worked at Ruby Sky doing some things, not worked as 9 to 5, but in terms of videotaping. Whenever there's a show, I videotape it and try to submit it to one of the shows on 29, or I buy airtime on 28, where the Weather Channel is, the least access, or I send it out to somewhere else in Southern Cal or anywhere. And that's what I do. The fundraising. I am trying to realize how much support. Doing something at Ruby Sky, since I've been there, it holds 1,700 people.
It's a big undertaking.
It's a major undertaking for a short period of time.
So you need at least 3 months.
We could have, I come here as a two-prong. One, to be here because you've seen my emails and me conversing with her, and I wanted to put the face behind the emails. But two, I wanted to be a professional about this and say, look, at this short notice, I need to find out where's the money going. I need to meet the people that I'm helping to raise the money. Where are you going to put it at? What's it going to be used for? If you charge $20, $30 a head, and let's say you got 900 people, that's pretty big dough. Who's getting it? Now the people with people who are disgruntled with you, they're going to probably come out of the woodwork. Money always does that. They didn't want nothing to do with the fundraiser, but they're going to pull, just like you're doing the meeting, what am I going to get out of it? Don't I have right to this? Where is it going? Will Zane have any right to this? Well, and those are the issues that I'm here about, because, I need to say stop. I have a reputation, I gotta be careful, I gotta watch what I'm doing, nothing personal against anybody, that's why I'm here. And I'm just saying, you got $20,000 in your hand, what the hell are you gonna do with it? I need to know that.
Split it between 167 producers or 150
Well,
producers.
we can discuss that.
Yeah, you need to discuss that and get it out of the way, because I can do that, I can help you. We can do that. I did a 60,000 capacity at the Giants. I can make phone calls. We can get whatever, Genuine to Jewel, whatever. Or we can just do strictly, basically local talent. What do you want to do? You want to raise some money, raise consciousness, raise attention, or do you want to just do a great, damn good fundraising party locally? And you've done those. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
You know,
Exactly.
so that needs to be, and I'm here personally to say, what do you guys want to do? I know there's a faction in the camp that doesn't want to be with you guys. I'm hearing stuff that I don't need to hear. I don't need to hear this. I'm just coming from the heart with love, you know, because I feel as while I'm moving up in stature, I'm not forgetting where I'm from. I'm not trying to run, you know. Bayview, I'm still down. I just want to know if Channel 29, to be blunt about it, got the balls to pull this off. You want a fundraiser to make a lot of dough, or do you want to make a lot of people happy yourselves? Is that what you want?
We want a little bit of promotion, we want a little bit of
Let's-
dough,
Let's open it up for,
Yeah.
but mostly we
Okay,
want
well, thank
basic
you for
needs,
having me
basic
here.
needs taken care of, like tapes.
okay, well, let's open it up for discussion.
Okay. The idea of the fundraiser came out of the basic needs that I met so many producers who didn't have, who told me, can you loan me a tape, or they don't have a tape, and so we need to provide for that need. If they cannot buy a digital tape, we need to help them. And there are a lot of them in that category, and they tape over and over on the same tape. That shouldn't be that way. They spend 2 hours editing, then they have to erase it all, tape over. Do you think that's fair?
Who allocates the money?
Well, okay, right now, the money that goes.
It's not even there.
Yeah, okay, the money that goes to, the money that comes from the city,
Yeah.
and the cable company goes to the Community Television Corporation.
Mhm.
What they do is they provide the equipment, they buy the equipment, and they have a staff so that you go in and they train you. As far as supplies and things like that, they don't pay for that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
What we could do, I mean, if we raise $20,000, is set up a foundation or a fund, you know, for different producers, for different projects, that kind of thing. We could also have a fund for people that need tapes. So that, but I mean, my feeling is if we're gonna have a big thing, like you're talking about,
Mhm.
the idea is to encourage people, look, this is an opportunity for people to have their views, their speech out in a broad way. I mean, that's the idea of
Promote
community
their
access, which is
shows.
a great thing for people to have their voice of the people. I mean, that's why community access is important as it is. It's a
Have
voice
them
of
come
regular
meet you.
people. And, I mean, that, I think especially when the media is becoming very monopolized, you have these companies taking over everything and locking everybody out.
That's right.
The question of protecting community access, free speech is very important, because this is the only thing we have.
Honestly, you just really put it in a nutshell. To be honest, that's your solution to cut the throat of the snake. I would ride that horse. It's so simple, it's very hard for people to realize. He just came up to me, the main dagger to kill the snake. Those guys are all board of supervisors. Again, you should separate them and then hit them with that. Because as long as they are being put out front and using your television, if they just thought that you were going to talk about them, that would hurt them to be reelected, hurt them in their personality, their look, their personas, how they want to seem to the community, they'd go nuts. They'll give you what you want. I just had a meeting with them about my network. I'm just telling you what I know. You're right. All of you guys are right. But it's got to be like, it took me so long, 10 years to get what it's all about. And then I found out it was right there. Simple. Do what I want. If you don't, see ya. Don't come to me, Sophie. Don't come to me, Gavin, because I know you're going to be the next mayor. And if not, you're going to really put some blood out there to be one. I know this guy way back. So you're going to spread some blood to become the mayor of the city, dude. And Sophie, it's up to you. And that was only for my personal business. So I know what they're thinking. You're right. You got to protest, but you're going to need it all.
I gotta go work, so organize this, and you guys know you got my support, you know,
I think the best...
politically or.
I think I'll try to find a location like the Mission Cultural Center, somewhere, Valencia, in the hood, and let's do something. I'm all for that. Ruby Sky, these guys are over me like a hawk. They made over 100 to 200,000 last night. You know,
Oh my God,
they
they did?
want, liquor alone.
Ask them for portion for us.
No, you know, these are
Big guys.
these are meat-eating, consuming, money-making machines.
I did an event at the movie Sky.
You know,
Yeah.
they ain't no joke.
And we brought in,
You can come out with a cut of that, a
Yeah.
big chunk, and come out feeling good. I would say, like he's saying, bring your people and get that community. Have them dress up though, because my security ain't no joke. They gonna whip you and get you out of there. And I'm not being disrespectful either, but I have got to have a nice crowd in a place like a Ruby Sky, because there's so much foo-foo boo-boo and foo-shoo shoo-shoo. I don't care if he just broke and unemployed, but just put a suit on or a shirt or a
Yeah.
tie. Just wear a nice shirt. There's no disrespect, but just be nice. I don't want you sitting here puking and throwing up and smoking crack next to my people. It ain't that kind of party. And I need to come back in the Ruby Sky anytime I feel like it. So I just want that understood. When we do that big to do, I'll go all out. But that's the kind of thing. I want to see those viewers that really follow each and every show. That's the whole emphasis I believe should be about there. Find out. Hey Dave, I watch you all the time, you know? Hey Queen, I watch you all the time. I have no particular personal view about a show. But I'm saying you don't even know with no rating who is watching you. And some of you do know. You do, because you're skating.
yeah, I'm in a unique situation.
But you could raise. And so thank you for having me.
Okay.
Now, the questions that you're asking though about the money, the plan, that's basically what I came here tonight for.
Decide what we'll do with the money.
I want to know the plan. What's the idea? I mean, fundraisers.
First basic needs, I would say, first basic needs.
But you're talking about organizing a fundraiser with him, and the level of fundraising he's talking about costs money to produce.
Well, why don't we start with the thing of like the community place, get people together at that, build up from that, and get a community going, get support for it. I mean, there are a lot of people that watch the shows, bring them together, and have an event and a fundraiser, and you could have samples of shows, you could do all kinds of things. You know.
And also,
I've been to
think
some-
about it, all these people, all these months without editing, if we had the fund, we can give them money to go edit wherever they
Well,
want.
as far as the editing thing, they could have made
She
arrangements.
doesn't have editing, she's looking for someone
Yeah,
to
I
do
know,
her
I know. The
editing.
thing is that the Community Act Television Corporation could have made arrangements with Artist Television Access or BAVAC to say during this time period, when we're transferring, we're gonna allow the people who use Community Television Corporation to
They didn't do
do editing.
anything.
That's
Well,
the point.
I mean, you know, that's
That's
something that they
amazing.
should have done, because people cannot do their shows unless they can edit it. And they said, well, you can replay your show, but who wants old shows?
It's
People wanna have a new
bullshit,
show,
yes.
okay, I understand that, but obviously, I don't think they ever discussed this on the board, did they? About editing?
A lot of the times they were dealing with that. I was in the middle of some other stuff, so they did talk about it. But the way it was put to me, they might not have moved out when they moved out. The people over at UC was him and Han, whether or not they was gonna let them stay longer, because we was going through that. Then there was the thing about the changing the point where you send the signal to, all these different, a lot of technical things that, I know it seems like, oh, well, they're dogging us and all that, but, I mean,
It's a big job.
it's a lot more to it than just that, and
Well, I mean, I think,
but I would say that, the basic thing is, squeaky wheel gets the grease. When you have a meeting and there's people in there and they're, in that public comment part, and they're saying, hey, well, you know what, we can't do our shows, we can't do that. If that point is put out there hard, then they gotta take it serious. But it really wasn't put out there that hard.
well, people should bring that up on the 20th. Here's the programming committee. They're spending all this time talking about a lottery. How come they didn't spend as much time talking about finding a place for people to do their editing when they're off the air? Isn't that programming? See, I mean, it's a priority thing. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was saying, I think the important thing is to find out what's their purpose. Because when I go to the station, I see people, always new faces, new people they hire, and you're asking for your slot, some people they don't know you, well, that's fine. But the purpose of the station, why they are there, why they are exactly. You know, it's like they're supporting the community, they're supporting San Francisco with the cable channel. I mean, I think they forgot their purpose. I don't know exactly what their agenda is right now, you know, but I don't, or maybe they don't have an agenda, or maybe each of them at the board have their own agenda. I don't know. See,
Their
important
priority is out of
exactly.
out
What
of
is
order.
the priority? What's the purpose of the station to be there? You know, and what they are going to do for the independent producers. You know, what is the, I think, you know, when I joined Channel 29, is they're going to support us with the equipment, they're going to support with the process of making the videotaping, you know, get to the public. They're going to provide us some video, some editing, and they haven't. I mean, they did in a very sporadic basis, but they are focusing in other things, more political type of things, rather than, you know, providing you the material to do the production. So I think that it should be addressed from the point of view of a producer. It's what you can do for me. I mean, I'm producing these shows. I wanted to pass through these shows to the community. But what can you give me? Because I'm also putting my time, I'm putting some information outside, but I need to know what are you going to do for me. I think that to me is very important. You know, I had problems getting the editing room. Also, they said they're going to get money. I mean, I heard this for the past 2 years, and they were going to buy a good equipment for, or supply a good editing system, and I haven't seen anything yet. So how long is it going to take? Or if they get the money, where the money goes? I mean, it's a 501c3, so I believe that each year we're supposed to have a copy of all the expenses.
That's what we're
listed.
requesting. We're not
And we are
getting it.
requesting that, and that is by law. I mean, there are 501c3.
They're public.
It's a public
Yes.
access, and that's supposed to be passed to every producer who produces a show. In that, we're supposed to have a listing of all the expenses, where the money goes, and how much money, you know, the station gets, and who gives them the money.
An annual report.
Yeah, an annual report. That's
They
something
don't want
we
to
should
tell
do.
us. They tell
Yeah.
us as little as possible, or at least, I mean, they don't tell us anything. They don't want us to have
Okay, well,
information.
I mean, those things can be said at the programming committee meeting. I mean, the main thing, the main issue that like Ron brought up and Aline brought up is that people needed editing facilities during the time of the transition in order to do the shows. And
I
that
just
was,
don't let nobody. If I have something I gotta do, if you don't help me, I'm not gonna just sit there and say, oh well, you know, I always make it happen.
We got to show up
That's
at the
just
meetings.
different
That's what
people.
he's
well,
saying.
in any event, I mean, that's something that should have been considered by the management of the station. They're getting
I
money and
tell you
people
what,
need editing.
You tell me these issues that you having, I would represent that
Try to
on the
go the
board.
20.
But I gotta tell you though,
Yeah.
I don't hear this as much. The stuff that I've been hearing is just, to me, not worth arguing.
Okay.
You know?
Well,
Well,
I mean,
then come on the
What you
20th and
said
show
was
your voice.
what you said was a specific issue, a relationship, and what they're doing and all that. I can sink my teeth into that. But when it's like, well, you know, if it's not at least halfway specific, something I can just, you know,
well, there's a specific
represent.
thing, I mean, producers should get
Information.
tapes. They should get an audit, you know, of what's happened to the station.
Yeah.
That's not being provided. But before we move on, we should vote on, there's a motion to have some kind of benefit, some kind of community benefit to start with, to raise support.
Yes, I am
So I
for
think
it.
I make a motion that we move forward with this benefit, and at the next meeting, we talk about the specific things. For now, I mean, what would we do with the money that we raise? I mean, there are three things, I mean, grants to producers, to help produce their programs, providing tapes to producers that need tapes.
And money for
also,
editing.
how about, well, they're gonna get the editing up, but ads in papers possibly, about community access.
Advertising.
I mean, advertising to let people know about different shows, highlight a show, and this is something, highlight a show once a month or something like that, put an ad out, this show, watch this show.
We give them the money to do that.
Well, being a nonprofit, they're gonna want a piece of the money. Even if you go television, they're not gonna give you a total break.
yeah, I went to
They'll-
John Carmen.
Yeah, they'll give you some, but they might want $400.
Well, if we have the money, we're in a better position to push for ads and.
Well, put it this way.
Which would help,
It's-
which would help.
It is the mission of the CTC to help us to be able to get the word out about our show. So if it costs them a certain amount of money, that should be budgeted within, their organization. They just spent $1.8 million building a brand new television studio. Has anybody been there?
I've been there.
You seen any of the equipment? You seen any of the technology at all?
I just see the still shot that's on the screen.
The what?
No, they.
Oh, the thing. Yeah. I checked that out
This is
too.
a whole new.
But I would tell you that
The community don't know.
It's nice toys,
No, they
but we
don't know
can't
it,
choose
but-
it right now.
it is some. I don't want to just gloss over the fact that here we are. I don't know who else has been. I knew Dangerous George. Did his show one time. He grabbed us from the park and we did some stuff. And I wasn't even tripping on public access. We was skating and all. It wasn't until later that I got involved. But what I have seen. The real deal. I'm from Missouri. Show me. And what I can tell you is I have just watched them take $1.8 million and build a brand new television studio with new equipment. We've set up the training for people to use the equipment. The whole thing about streaming video, that came out of meetings that we had, which they made capability for. A lot of the stuff that we've been talking about is there. Now, I know it's not convenient that they didn't do it on a timely basis or whatever, and we can deal with all that, but I'm not prepared to just ignore the fact that all this stuff has happened. And my whole time being around public access, I ain't seen nobody going for these things. I ain't seen nobody trying to get, when we had the $400,000 budget, and that was one thing. Now we had an $850,000 thing. Now we're going to spend another $1.8 million. There's a lot of stuff going on, and we're talking about buying tapes. We could.
Well,
Basic needs are not taken care of.
I think that a fundraiser has to go to fulfilling the mission of what the producers and programmers group is about. And I think that mission needs to be spelled out to everybody as why we're here, what is our group. We was talking about our bylaws, and we're talking about how we got to do that. Now, when we're talking about fundraiser, the thing of raising funds should be to not just to buy tapes, but to totally pump the PPN, period. The things that you need to do, stuff that has to happen and all. And I just think that we at some point got to discuss those things.
Well, okay, yeah, I'm in favor of a discussion, and that's why we're having this discussion now about what would the money go for. Right now, specific things. If you have a specific proposal, grants to producers, providing tapes, ads, and papers to publicize our programming.
Grants to producers means that in this mission statement of the PPN, one of our missions is to provide support or something.
Exactly. In other words,
but we don't.
If
We don't
a
have the
producer,
money.
if producer wants
That don't take
a
money.
new
That
slate
just takes
board
writing up your
or something
stuff.
like that, there are things to put together a program. Producers might need support on that.
How about
I
I guess I'm just trying to
Or
say
paying for a
the cart
cab
before the
to go
horse.
to an event, things like that.
When we did Christy Yamaguchi, we did a thing with Great America. We had all of the Brian Boitano, all the different
Okay,
ice stars and
Before
all.
we go on, why don't we take a vote to go ahead with having this benefit, so that John can
Yeah,
pursue
because
that.
I need to make a change. Instead of Ruby Sky, I'm thinking of like the elbow room or something like that on Valencia.
Yeah, that would be good.
There you
Seems
go.
more local, yeah.
Everybody likes that.
Do you
And
know
that's a
these
nice
places
size.
too?
They used
They need to
before.
be approached, but
They used.
Everyone is good.
Is this on Fillmore in Union? No.
you mean the West Bay Community Center?
No.
No, the elbow room is good. That's a nice
It was a
place.
jazz club on California.
But we lost money on that.
Marcellus?
Oh, di Visadero in California.
The Visitero. In
No.
California
I think
is-
that is-
Yeah, but I think the elbow
They
room
want to
is
get
more.
paid for the food. They want to get paid. We spend
Okay.
like $300.
Okay,
That's
why don't we do this? Why don't we let John
Yeah, that's
develop some
right.
proposals?
Yeah,
and
the
then
elbow
come
room
back.
is a better surrounding.
All naughty.
Okay, all those in favor of
I never
moving
go
ahead,
out.
all those in favor of moving ahead with the benefit?
Say it again.
All those in favor of moving ahead with the benefit with John for the
Yeah,
Producers and Programs
yeah.
Network? All those opposed? Okay, it's
No,
unanimous.
unanimous.
Okay, and,
Okay, I need, first of all, no rebroadcast of what I said about Gavin Newsom and all the rest of that stuff. You understand? That's between us and here.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, no,
Because
no,
you
that's
will,
right.
this whole thing will get hurt,
All right.
you know?
yeah, I
If
mean.
we could use them.
If I
we
added
can
this, it
use
will be
them
at
for
his
later on.
place.
Don't
Because
matter.
I don't have editing.
You will shoot my thing down big time, and I could never touch Channel 29 and do what you
Again.
got.
Even this part is off the
I
book.
gave you something to help you.
That's right, exactly. So
I
why
gave
why don't we
you
just eliminate the whole
That
section
part.
of
Yeah,
your
please,
presentation?
please
Okay,
do not.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, the rest of it, does anybody have a problem with being on TV?
No.
Well, my question is, how do we split this all up?
Well, the
We need
benefit,
phone
From
calls.
20.
Nobody.
the benefit, okay, John is gonna develop a proposal with some places, possible places, and then we'll get a plan together of what we're gonna do, the entertainment, and how we can all fit in and help it.
In the 503C, you've done this before, I already done it, too many groups, I already know what you're gonna do. You already flood TV, I'll do that myself. They're gonna give you the PSA, you're gonna have TV, you're gonna have support. It's the design and creativity of how you say it to the public. A lot of people don't watch 29, they're quiet watchers. You know, surf and then they'll stop to see what's on. Now what you're asking them to do is to come step forward and show yourself. Now,
And there are a lot of people.
there's a
from
lot
different
of
shows
people.
watching
It
shows.
has to be designed.
Would there be any interest in having this thing at the new place?
What
Well, okay,
place?
the thing is this, the CTC is going to have an opening. Now, at our last meeting, what we suggested is we do it jointly with them, that the Producers and Programs Network work with CTC. That's fine, but I think we should have a thing at the Elbow Room at some kind of party place, or, you know, that
It's a
kind of thing.
party.
And then we can do something as
Politics
well
at
with
the
the
door.
CTC at their studio.
I
at
would
the
go
new studio.
against 30. It's too high for us. I would go for maximum 20.
Well, let's discuss that at the
Yeah,
next
that has
meeting.
nothing to do with
Okay,
it.
all those in favor, we all voted for it? So
Yeah.
let's move the, thank you.
No,
John,
thank
for
you.
coming.
You can stick around. But
No,
you
I
know.
have to go.
Okay.
I have a lot of stuff to do.
Okay, our next point
Okay, we
is.
appreciate your
Man,
presence.
thanks for helping out.
Thanks for your support.
God bless you guys.
Us.
Thanks for coming in.
And even another suggestion, it would behoove you to have maybe a supervisor be on the stage at the party,
Yeah, that's a
especially
good
the
idea.
big one. Again, you want to get a couple of people on your side, you already know by being
Yeah.
on the board, the
Oh, yeah.
politicking.
Man,
Because before you start cutting, you want to let them know, get out of the way. I like you, get out of the way.
There you go.
And if you have that attitude, they'll get out of the way.
And all seriously?
They'll
Well, a
like
couple of them have been on the show.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
Take care,
all right.
John.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, our next point is on streaming video.
Yeah.
Okay, I talked with Zane and Jan about the streaming video, and they said right now they want to get all the editing equipment in and all that other stuff, and they want to investigate it. And what we had talked about in the previous meeting is AT&T is providing them a line to broadcast on cable. And probably they can get it for no cost. Negotiate with AT&T to have a broadband, high-speed broadband line that would stream our shows. There's a station in the East Bay, Love TV,
Yeah.
24 hours a day, and they pay $250 a month.
Wow.
You know, so it is feasible, and it doesn't cost a lot of money relatively to what they're spending. So
How
I
do they
think
do that?
they have a DSL line, they have the equipment, and they just stream it on there. They have 2 computers and they do it. I mean, it's happening all over. Streaming is happening all over. So what we have to do is, we have to
Budget
keep
it.
pushing and suggest that they do that, and that's an important issue. Maybe what we could do is a survey or a questionnaire. Question the producers. Are producers interested in having their show streamed? To see, I mean, my feeling is most people would be. Most producers would like to have their show streamed because right now you have to have cable in San Francisco in order to get the show. That limits it to a lot of people. People, you know, they can't, maybe they,
For $250 a month, I'll get my own channel going.
well, that's a possibility. So in any event,
Serious as a heart attack.
that's where it's at. So what they're saying now.
Yeah, that's right.
The main
It's so
thing is
cheap,
they
we
wanna
can
get
do
the
it ourselves.
equipment, they wanna get their equipment going, they're installing, and
The
then they'll talk
SFPPN
about it.
channel.
But they haven't put it out of the question, they just have to be, you know.
Okay, why don't we
pushed on.
pass a motion that with the fundraiser, we use $250 to do SFPPN online?
I think you gotta, as far as the mission for the money and all,
Yeah, that would be a good one.
Well, let's not vote on what we're gonna spend the money
Yeah,
on until we
yeah,
have a
just
discussion. Okay, the next point then is on the meeting with Zane and editing situation.
Okay, you already took.
Oh, yeah, well,
It's too bad Ron had to leave. Well, okay, what,
Okay, I told Zane he could have let the playback at 16th and Folsom for another month while he first takes care of the editing. Because we were playing back on Folsom while channel 29 was closed, right?
Yeah, but they ripped out all the equipment. They had to rip out the equipment.
No, I mean,
So I ain't making excuses for them. They didn't do it. That's the bottom line. So
no, I mean, you remember when they had for those 2 months to do playback somewhere else, and they did it at 16th and Folsom.
yeah,
They could have stayed there a little bit longer while they installed the editing first, and then they would have taken care of the playback at 1720 Market. Instead, they spent like what, 2 months on fixing the playback at 1720 Folsom. They were out without editing, okay? And everybody's calling me left and right, Aline, where can I edit? I don't have. Where can I edit? I don't know. So basically, we left with a whole bunch of producers. They don't know where to turn to edit. And the people who do have editing, they want to get paid. And we don't have a budget for it. If we had a budget or fundraiser, we had a fund, we can pull in that fund and we give people the money to edit. We have right now not such emergency fund.
yeah, well, they should have, I mean, since
Okay, then-
these moves take a long time.
Okay.
Building out a whole studio and putting all equipment, it takes
Okay.
months and months and months.
So I moved on to the next thing with Zane. I said, why don't you take like $500, rent a room somewhere, plug in the editing, let us do that room somewhere, and we edit while you guys get your studio together. He said it's not in his budget. And now he has enough money to pay people to sit there to do nothing all day. He said, I'm not going to lay them off. Bud is sitting there doing nothing. Alice is sitting there doing nothing. She's supposed to be, she's hired to train people, right?
She's not training anybody.
She's not training anybody, so she's like warming up the bench. I mean, she's sitting on a chair to justify.
you know what? I tell you the honest truth. I ain't think about that. I
All these
didn't.
people were taking care of
No, he
front
said-
desk and
he
everything.
said he-
No
has
one
to-
has mentioned this. I ain't never heard this till today.
Well, I did. I said that Bud didn't work at all for 10 months because his job was supposedly to do.
I will be brutally honest. A lot of the emails that go through, I don't read them all.
Okay. Let me tell you what's happening. Alice's job is to train people. She's not training
Yeah.
anybody. Bud's job is to help with the production and stuff like that. There's no production going on, so his job is just blank for a while, right? I mean, all these people are getting paid. He doesn't want to lay them off. We could have used all that money that have been paying all these people for a year to get ourselves organized, to rent a room, for example, to put an editing in, to do production in, to rent a temporary room to do interviews,
Well,
whatever.
that's an issue.
That is
The
definitely an
money
issue.
is
Now,
misused.
and did we write this in a letter? Did we say anything?
Yes,
So
well,
you
Other
have to keep giving us the service. You know, because I mean,
they're
how long
keeping
do we have
people
it?
on the payroll who have nothing to do. Meanwhile, we need that money
They
to
should-
do
they
our
should
shows.
Give us like a room or somewhere, or maybe have talk to Bayback and see if
Yeah.
Bayback can give us maybe a lower rate.
So as it is
Maybe
right now,
find
do
out
you have
what's-
editing place now?
No, we don't. She doesn't. She's here for that purpose. She wants
No,
to
no,
ask
no,
you.
the place, it's been months since the place has been shut down. And the programming committee and Zane should have said, well, producers, if we're gonna be running regular programs, need to have access to editing place. And that could have been arranged by Artist Television Access, allowing
Or
them.
a
to-
producer who has it in their
Or,
home. or a room.
Bayback or something like that, making arrangements. And they could have
Instead,
done
what
that.
they're doing, they're using the money to pay people who would have nothing
Well, okay,
to do.
Well, but yeah, I
Wait.
think the main gist is that, okay, that's already happened, and, you know, but I don't want to get into fire this one,
Okay,
lay off that
okay.
one, but there should be some kind of plan to make sure that, should this situation arise again, there's a contingency to make sure that there's a place for us to, like, say, ATA, Bayback, you know, there
There
should
are
be
other
some.
editing places.
Exactly.
Well, we are the product. We are the product. They
Right.
have to provide for us.
Exactly.
That's what I'm
Exactly.
saying. I mean, I can go independently and go to payback. But what I'm saying is being part of Channel 29
Right, you shouldn't
as an
have to do that.
independent
And they get
producer,
money to
they're
provide editing.
supposed to
Right.
provide an editing
Right.
service. And if they don't, they're supposed to make arrangements for people to keep continuing the production
Right.
of the videos.
That's right.
But I think
Because
should-
we are giving the material. And I like to know the mission statement of Channel 29.
Right.
It's on
Because they're supposed to
sfctc.org.
have a mission statement, therefore, we should focus on that. That is, that's a statement, and that is a purpose.
Right, I think we
It's on
should put our focus there, though. I
sfctc.org.
mean, I don't want to get into, why don't you lay off
Okay,
this
David
person,
Mouse, for
fire
a
that.
year, we had no studio, correct? From November to November. They could have rented a $500 room with 2 chairs and 2
You're
cameras.
asking me?
No,
Oh.
I'm just telling you
Okay.
that instead of paying someone, let's say $2,000 a month, they could have taken $500 a month, rent a room, put 2 chairs, three cameras, and an editing on the corner until the studio is fixed. Instead, for a whole year, there's nowhere to go. Nowhere.
Yeah,
So you say for a year?
For a
There's
whole
no
year.
no editing? You can't edit
No,
for a
for
year?
a year, there's no
Kicked out of full
studio.
Studio.
Oh, production, live production.
See, I edit at home.
No, we're not
I
talking
don't-
about
No,
that.
the
Live
editing
show.
just closed down.
In other words, you could
Oh,
have.
yeah, well, I got a live show and I haven't been able to do that at all. So I-
Okay,
That's
let me
what
tell
we're
you what's
talking about,
happening.
so-
From last November to this November, there is no room where you can do an interview. They could have rented a $500 room instead of keeping Bud on the payroll, okay, or Alice on the payroll, who are waiting for the studio to open, okay? They could have, I don't know, they can collect unemployment, but they have no more purpose to be there, okay? And what they're not doing is providing her with editing, providing me with editing, and meanwhile,
Well, the staff did not go down when they shut the studio down.
the
The staff
staff.
did not go down. There were no layoffs, even though they're not providing the service that the staff should be
So
previously.
their mission statement
So-
fell black on its
Well,
face.
in any event, what's done is done, but we have to bring up the fact
That we
that they
did not
didn't make
provide.
arrangements to provide.
They are fired.
That's what
Actually,
Okay.
if they would have provided somewhere to edit, that would have justified them having the staff on the payroll, because they could have
That's
been able
right,
to
yeah.
help
Exactly,
us
but
with the
what
edit.
happens is, okay, they have the people they hire, fine, they have their employees,
Right.
that's perfectly okay. But this mission statement is to support the community,
Oh,
work
absolutely.
with production, work
Right,
from
we weren't doing
independent producers.
Right.
Okay, in order to be an independent producer, you need to have a place where you can go and
Oh, of
edit your
course.
tapes and all that. So
Yeah,
that should
Sometimes
be-
I go to the station, they're taking a nap.
Exactly, and that should be the first important thing for them to arrange before to go into, for a
Exactly.
whole year, we don't have a studio, we don't have editing rooms. That should be arranged.
Well, the other thing
way
that's
forward.
really bad is that they've spent more time arguing about the
The lottery.
The
the
lottery,
lottery.
yeah.
And this is what we should throw in their face.
Yeah.
They spent all this time arguing about a lottery.
And we're not
And-
serving.
And the
Providing the
producers who were
service,
trying to get editing were scrambling around looking for editing.
Exactly.
If they had spent as much time
Right.
Yeah.
talking about having editing space for the
Service.
producers, for people who didn't have editing equipment, as they are talking about the lottery,
Right.
Yeah,
priority.
exactly.
Right.
It's prioritize the things, because if they read the mission statement, then we will know what the important things it has to be done, you know? I mean, the purpose of the channel, why we do have Channel 29 in San Francisco, what's the mission statement? They are 501c3, it's a non-profit organization, and they're supposed to be arranging all that, whether editing, they wanted to educate the public, they wanted to help the producers, they should be providing the producers with equipment for them to keep producing the shows.
Well, no, you can.
Instead of talking about the lottery and discussing about the politics, that's beyond that, that what they're supposed to be
It's
providing.
misuse of
Yeah.
money, basically. That's my opinion. Misuse of money. Totally misuse. Totally.
Okay, any more discussion on this?
There was something that came to mind but it just slipped away.
All right.
Okay,
This
well
is
then-
this is a recap since you go on the board. From November to now, from November to November, this is a whole year, no studio to record. You record outside, we don't, but we have no studio. They could have rented a room with the money they are using to pay workers who are not working. Number two, no editing and nowhere to go to edit. If they rented that room, we could have been editing right now. So basically, it's totally misuse of our money.
Okay,
Any other discussion? Okay, the next point is our schedule for our next meeting.
Now, we can schedule a Saturday, because in the past on Saturday, maybe a lot of people showed up. What do you think, Steve?
This is a good,
That's really, it's really messed up.
It's a messed up Saturday?
Oh, no, I was thinking about the people being paid with no editing.
That's right.
That's,
They're getting paid their job
well, okay, there
description
was
is not
editing
active.
until they made the move to the station.
Yeah, they did have editing on Oak Street.
There was editing on Oak Street.
No,
So
there was
it's not-
editing on Oak Street, but no studio
No, I
for
mean, when
here.
you shut
They
down
had
the
no studio,
studio,
yeah, they didn't have a studio, but there
when you
was
shut
editing.
down Boeing, what happened? Those people did
There
not
was
work.
editing until
You
they
know.
shut down
But
Oak
they
Street.
were not,
Yeah.
that's the thing, they did not
But they didn't do
lay off
workshops,
anybody.
for
They did not lay off
They
anybody.
didn't do
Right,
workshops,
they
yeah,
didn't
they,
do workshops.
yeah.
Was there
they-
enough money in the budget if they would have rented
Okay, well,
towards
let's
it
talk
to
about when our next
edit
meeting is gonna be. Do
without
people have a suggestion?
There may not have been.
Shall we do it on,
I think
December the 19th?
Should have been doable.
December the 19th.
Wednesday, December the 19th?
I'll be in town, so
Okay, Wednesday, December the 19th, same time, same place?
You like this place?
Yeah, it's good. Maybe next time come earlier
What I
and then we
wanted
can.
to ask you, David Miles, because you know people there, get us a list of phone numbers so that we can call the